Don't skip this. There's a truth hidden in plain sight, a truth most men overlook. When you walk away, when you choose silence, peace, and growth instead of chasing, pleading, or running back, it leaves an impact on her deeper than any fight ever could. See, she expected you to break. She expected you to fold, to return like you always did. But when you don't, that's when everything changes. In this video, we're going to uncover the 11 things that hurt her most when you walk away and never look back. And more importantly, I'll show you how to use Stoic wisdom to remain grounded, calm, and unshakable through it all. But first, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop one word in the comments, strength. That way I know this message is reaching the men it's meant for. Now let's begin. 1. The illusion of control shatters. At the start, when she pulls away, she believes she has the upper hand. She convinces herself she's in control of the story, that she dictates the rules, that you'll chase, that eventually you'll collapse back into her orbit. That's the illusion of control. It feels powerful in the moment, like she's the one holding the strings. But here's what shakes that illusion. You don't return. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't fall into the cycle of late-night messages and emotional tug-of-war. You step back calmly, silently, and with every day you don't come back, the illusion starts to crack. She tries subtle moves, a casual reaction to your story, a vague post meant to bait your attention. But none of it works. Your silence doesn't break. And that silence reveals the truth. She never had control in the first place. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoics, said it clearly. You cannot control what others do, only how you respond. You've chosen not to react. That decision alone unsettles her more than any outburst ever could. Because control is only real if you accept it. The moment you step outside her game, the whole structure collapses. Her discomfort grows not because you tried to punish her, but because you chose to live by your own decisions rather than her expectations. That is self-mastery, not revenge, not cruelty, just discipline. And ironically, the less you try to control outcomes, the more powerful you actually become. 2. The scarcity of your presence. Here's a paradox of human nature. When something is always available, it fades into the background. But the moment it disappears, its value skyrockets. That's what happens with your presence. When you were always there, texting, showing up, giving her attention, it was like running water. Ordinary, constant, overlooked. But when you stopped, the silence got loud. She checks her phone. No message. She scrolls her feed. No trace of you. What once blended into her daily routine now feels like a gap she can't ignore. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, value is in perspective, not in possession. She possessed your presence, so she undervalued it. But once it became scarce, perspective shifted. It's like a painting on the wall you stop noticing until it's taken down. Suddenly, its absence changes the whole room. Your absence does the same. And here's the key. You didn't create scarcity to manipulate her. You simply stopped offering yourself where you weren't valued. That silence reveals your true worth. She may not admit it out loud, but she feels the difference. She knows the safety net of, you'll always be there, is gone. And now, for the first time, she sees your presence for what it always was. Rare, valuable, and irreplaceable. 3. The mirror of regret night is the great revealer. In the stillness, when the distractions fade, she's left alone with her thoughts. And that's when the mirror of regret appears. During the day, she wears pride like armor. But at night, she replays the decisions, the words, the moment she let you go. Did I make a mistake? Did I underestimate him? Did I throw away something rare? These questions circle her mind like a storm. Meanwhile, you're not caught in that storm. You're calm. You're steady. You've anchored yourself in something deeper than her approval. You don't need her reflection to validate your worth. That's Stoicism in action. As Epictetus taught, the only thing truly under our control is our mind. You've chosen peace. While she wrestles with what if, you stand rooted in what is. Her mirror shows her loss. Your mirror shows your growth. That contrast unsettles her more than anything. She thought you'd be the one lying awake. Instead, she's the one haunted, while you continue forward with quiet strength. 4. Pride turns into a prison. In the beginning, pride feels like armor. It shields her from admitting she was wrong. It convinces her she still has control. She tells herself, he'll come back. He always does. I don't need to reach out. At first, that feels safe, but pride is a wall, and walls don't just keep things out. They trap things inside. As days turn into weeks, the armor feels heavy. She wants to break the silence, but to do so would mean admitting she was wrong. So she stays stuck, trapped in a prison of her own making. Meanwhile, you've chosen freedom. Stoicism teaches that true strength isn't avoiding hardship, but mastering your response to it. You can't control her pride, but you can control your silence. And that silence becomes your freedom. She's restless in her cage of pride. You're free in your discipline. And every day the gap grows wider. In the end, her pride hurts her more than it hurts you. Because while she stays locked behind her walls, you've already stepped into the open air of peace. Fear of the void she can't fill. It's like trying to quench thirst with salt water. The more she consumes, the emptier she feels. She distracts herself, goes out, laughs too loudly, scrolls endlessly, maybe lets someone new into her orbit. But when the noise fades, the void remains. The morning after always tells the truth. The inbox is full, but the heart is not. Because distractions can cover emptiness for a moment, but they can't replace real presence. And your presence carried a steadiness no one else offered. That's why she feels the void so sharply. Every new face feels shallow. Every plan ends in the same stillness. But here's where the difference lies. You don't fear the void. A Stoic doesn't run from solitude. He embraces it. You use the silence to build, to train, to reflect. You turn emptiness into expansion. She tries to run from the void. You let the void refine you. The same space that unsettles her is the space that strengthens you. 6. The silence that echoes. At first, she dismisses your silence. He'll eventually text, this is temporary. But as days pass, that pause grows heavier. She notices the missing spaces. No good morning texts, no check-ins, no voice at the end of the day. The absence becomes a presence in itself. Seneca once said, silence often carries the strongest message. That's exactly what your silence delivers. Without a word, you've said, I will not play the game on your terms. And that silence echoes. It raises questions she can't answer. Why hasn't he called? Why doesn't he miss me? Has he moved on? Your silence becomes her loudest noise. But for you, silence isn't emptiness. It's space. It's clarity. It's freedom. You've embraced what she can't. She feels silence as loss. You feel silence as strength. And that difference unsettles her most. 7. The shock of your growth. Perhaps the hardest truth for her to face is this. You didn't just move on. You grew. She expected you to struggle without her. Maybe even wait around, diminished, hoping she'd return. That thought gave her comfort. But when she sees you thriving, stronger, sharper, more focused, that's when the sting hits. Your growth is undeniable. It shows in your posture, your confidence, your discipline. She sees a man not broken, but rebuilt. Marcus Aurelius put it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What was meant to break you became the forge that strengthened you. And that truth burns. Because if you've grown without her, then maybe she wasn't your foundation after all. 8. Respect replaces desire. At first, what drew her was the chase, the thrill of being pursued. But when you refused to play that game, something unexpected replaced desire, respect. Most men cave. They break the silence. They beg. They plead. But you didn't. You held your ground. Calm. Disciplined. That restraint is rare, and rare things command respect. She may not admit it, but deep down she knows. You're not like the rest. You don't need her validation. You don't crumble under emotion. Desire burns hot and fades. Respect lasts, and respect makes you unforgettable. 9. The weight of comparison. Here's the truth she won't say aloud. She compares every man after you to you. No matter how much attention she gets, something feels off. No one mirrors the calm, steady presence you carried. She realizes what she thought was ordinary wasn't ordinary at all. It was exceptional. And that comparison follows her, quietly, wherever she goes. 10. The end of the fantasy. In her mind, she always believed she had a safety net, you, that no matter what happened, you'd still be there. But when you didn't return, that fantasy collapsed, and reality hit. You won't always be available. That realization doesn't just sting, it rewrites the story she told herself. And once that fantasy ends, there's no going back. 11. She sees who you really are. In the end, what unsettles her most is that she finally sees you clearly, not as the man she thought she could control, not as someone who would always come back, but as a man who chose peace over chaos, growth over chasing, strength over weakness, and that vision lingers long after you've gone. Closing message. So what hurts her most when you don't come back? It isn't cruelty, it isn't revenge. It's the quiet, undeniable truth that you've chosen yourself, that you've grown, refined, and mastered the art of being unmoved. And in that silence, in that growth, in that calm strength, she sees what she lost. That's the Stoic way. Not to hurt, not to punish, but to master yourself so deeply that no one else holds sway over your peace. If this video resonated with you, do me one last favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop one word in the comments, unshaken. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need more men who chase. It needs more men who stand strong, calm, and free. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, stay unshaken,